We're recording? We're recording. Hello! Welcome back to This Is Fine, because guess what? Everything's fine, everything's not fine. But hey, everything's fine. Everything is fine because we have... Hello! Say hello! Aww. This poor cat. I know. But you love hugs and you know it. Okay, I'll let you down. Miss Uli is not pleased. It's okay, she's totally adorable, it's fine. Everything's fine, right? Remember. But as you may have guessed, we're doing this way again because the live stream just didn't work out. I wanted it to, but yeah, so the replay, the live stream itself was fine, but the replay, oh, YouTube apparently hates me because it just cut off like the last, like, I don't know, half an hour of my stream. So we're not doing that anymore. I'm doing these videos and I honestly need to turn on a light, but I kind of don't feel like going to go turn it on the light. Alright. Oh, right. And we're back. Now everything is a little bit more fine. Also, I'm just sitting so far away from my light. I guess that's really the problem. I have a ring light that's currently sitting on my table, and am I ever gonna use it? I hope so. I bought it. Okay. But we're doing it this way, and as you might have noticed, we're straying away from Archive of Our Own to a third site where you can find fan fiction, Wattpad. Now, as you might know, a lot of people, usually Archive of Our Own readers, not always, a lot of people kind of hate on Wattpad, and there's definitely stuff on there that's not good. But you know what? There's definitely stuff on Archive of Our Own that's not good. Like, all I'm saying is that every platform has its gems and every platform has its uncut diamonds? We'll call them that. Maybe, you know, you polish them up, actually do a little editing, maybe live a little bit longer, and then write it again. It might be better, you know, I don't know. But I do think that Wattpad does tend to have a younger author audience. A lot of the people who write on Wattpad tend to be... Some of them tend to be 13, but I'm just saying. I was an adult by the time I got to Wattpad, so all the things we'll be reading here are, you know, I was an adult. It's fine. But this one I wanted to read is actually something from December, apparently, of 2013. So this is curious. I remember at the time I was still kind of posting between Wattpad and DeviantArt, so like I think this story appears on both. But fun fact, this story not only appears on 2 platforms, but it also appears published in a college journal a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was fun. You know, I submitted it to the journal and it got accepted, and we did just like a little few edits and it got published in the journal. I have my own author's copy. Hey, shoot. I'm gonna show it to you. Did I plan for today? No, I didn't. Do I plan for any of these? Sort of. Not usually. Will I start planning? Also probably not. I'm the kind of person who likes to, fly by the seat of your pants. That's the phrase. See, now the hard part is to find out which one it was in. And no, that was something else. I mean, like I said, I actually published in 3 journals from this same group. I have published another one in a fourth journal, but that was through like a different journal. No, not that one. So I guess it's in this one. Yeah. My author's copy of this, essentially, zine. Yeah, the old school days. Because, you know, it's fun. And this one, I mean, it has to be this one. I know it was published in here. Yes. It was just the year I had 2 titles. I have a limerick style thing in here, and then I have my short story. So today we're actually going to read the short story that was indeed a fan fiction at first. Actually, how about we just read from my author's journal? The font is damn tiny. Look at how tiny this font is. So tiny. But what did I do with the names in here? Oh, fun fact. It is still... Hello, wake up. I'm still here. It's still fan fiction. Even here, I just don't think they knew it. Oh my goodness. No, I want to read the comments. So we're gonna read the comments on here, because this version in the published version was published in 2015, so a couple years later, and I'd had more chances to edit it, so that's not as much fun, you know. At least I don't think it's as much fun. Why did my light just go off again? Is that gonna help at all? You just get my... Yeah, whatever. This is what we're gonna do. I am recording this after working today, and I'm tired, and yeah, so hey, it is what it is. But okay, let me see if this... Oh, of course. Well, now you can't see me, but you know, maybe that's fine. Okay, we're just gonna hit start reading, and then it's gonna load. All right. You know, just the older one of like, I think like the 3rd thing I posted on Wattpad, so decent number of, for me, I think that's decent number of views. You know what? It could have been worse. It could have been, sure, a lot more, and this is not one of my better performing fanfics, but who cares? I had fun writing it. People talk about like, oh, there's always those fanfics that are like infamous in the fandoms and all stuff like that, and I don't know. I suppose that's true, but you can't say everybody knows about them, because there's things that I say that people are gonna say is quote unquote like infamous in the Harry Potter fandom, and I don't know them. There's things that are infamous in the Kuroko's basketball fandom, and I either don't know them or I wrote it. The only reason why I say that, like, because, you know, maybe that sounds a little arrogant, but, you know, you either hear from my arrogant style of humor or my self-deprecating style of humor, which usually go hand in hand, because... But, that being said, I have written so many, like, Kuroko's basketball fanfictions, and if you are a fan of Aomine and Kagami as a ship, then you likely have come across at least one of my fan fictions, because that's basically, especially nowadays, almost exclusively what I write. So that's why I say, if it is, it's either mine or one I haven't heard of. And I guess I always have been more of a writer than a reader, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, let's start. This is called Steps of Dying, and it is indeed still it's still band/slash fiction, okay? I was in that for a long while, and then I started watching anime, and everything changed, and we have no more band/slash fiction after I started writing anime fiction. So, bear with me. We're not there yet. So, this first one is called The Steps of Dying, and it's across 4 chapters, and it's still very short. Wattpad says it's about a 20-minute read, so maybe we'll read it all, maybe we won't. Maybe I'll leave you with a link and tell you to go read the rest of it. But let's see how cringy it is. So, Isolation. I also should note that this was for a contest, and the first like paragraph or two was like, the challenge was to continue the story from the first 2 paragraphs. So the first paragraph or 2 are not mine, so we're gonna say that. And also the person I dedicated this to is the person who started the contest. So I don't remember if I won or not. I might have, or like, you know, it's been a while. Alright, step 1, Isolation. I really wish I could put my video on the other side of the screen. I'm annoyed, man. So annoyed. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Step 1, Isolation. I sat there, legs crossed, arms folded, back erect, staring straight ahead, unmoving. Very clear visual, but I would say that It's a long sentence, in my opinion. Okay. Goodness, okay. The room I was in was white. Matte white tiled walls, ceiling and floor, matte white trim, the furniture a slab of white velour covered foam masquerading as a bed. The door was flush with the wall, tiled on the inside and handleless so it couldn't be opened when closed. Oh my goodness, I need a breath after that. That was a long sentence. Just saying that could have been broken up into 3. Yeah, like, you have, and also, of course, it's very wrong, and I think it's, you could say it's a stylistic choice to say, like, it makes the reader feel like it drudges on because of, like, the way that, stylistically of, like, this very white place, like, it's a very either, like, boring or that something is amiss. But that being said, while I'm reading that, I'm just tired now. Sorry about that. And honestly, just like, there's definitely parts in there where I'm like, I would have started a new sentence, but that's just me. I was in all white too, from my white plimsolls and socks. Yes, I think this was not an American person who started this contest, so I personally have not heard many Americans use the word plimsolls. I think most of them would probably say slip-on shoes, or perhaps shoes that lack shoestrings? Laces! My goodness! That's the word. Just like, the idea is we're going for a shoe that lacks laces, and plimsolls, of course, is a decent word and a good one, but it's not one that I personally use very often, and I think that just stands out in this. That being said, it's not like it's a bad word by any means, it's just, perhaps there's also, I don't remember if this person was a native English speaker or if they were just from a different country, but I do notice among writers that are not native English speakers, but they're writing in English, many times they try to use fancy vocabulary like plimsolls and other words that are perhaps more grandiose than necessary, and it's just like, it, in my opinion, as a native English speaker, it makes it stand out more and makes me think they are not native English speaker. Like, they are trying to be like all cool and use good vocabulary, and I'm like, you just sound like a textbook. Except not even a textbook. You sound like an SAT test. Like, I mean, some people use those words, but like in your everyday, and the people who are going to be reading fan fiction, and the people who don't notice the strangeness in perhaps like this vocabulary and like the like elevated vocabulary. It's not even elevated, that's the wrong word for that. But in like this like extra type of vocabulary, the only people who don't notice it are usually also non-native English speakers who think that they should do the same thing. Because, like, I'll also say, like, I've got friends who are native English speakers, and you put in a word like that, and they're immediately stopping to, like, go to a dictionary and be like, what does that mean? Like, it doesn't flow. It interrupts the flow for a native speaker. That's it. Okay. Back to the plimsolls. Alright, I was all in white, too. From my white plimsolls and socks, through white underwear and t-shirt to white velour tracksuit. I was the only color in the room. That wasn't much. My overgrown brown hair, the kind that gets mistaken for black, falls to my shoulders, my skin looking blue from all the veins showing through. My skin looking blue from all this veins and oh god. Seriously. This person, I mean, I know I didn't write this part because I don't list descriptions like that, quite honestly, especially at the time. I didn't really do much descriptions at all. Like, I was a very much more action-oriented writer than a description-oriented writer. Not that that was, like, good or bad, it's just different, and just run-on sentences with descriptions is making me tired of reading this out loud. But let's get through it, because then we'll get to my style. My overgrown brown hair, the kind that gets mistaken for black, falls to my shoulders. Period. My skin looking blue from all the veins showing through, my eyes as black as midnight skies. With nothing to do, nothing to look at, it was a dull, sterile existence. It wasn't living. Or, that's what they thought. Oh dear, how sad. Apparently that was none of my stuff. That's rather sad. Whoopsies. Okay. Oh, and this, oh my goodness. Okay, unfortunately this, well, we're just gonna go through this. I'll feel bad. I didn't even write that. Okay. The second one. I didn't write this first paragraph, or at least part of it, but it's somewhere in here it starts being mine, and I'm sure I hope I'll notice. Step 2, hallucination. I wasn't lonely or bored in my little white room, even though I saw no one except the staff from time to time, because while my body may be still and unmoving in my mind, I lived a life richer and fuller than many really live. I have friends and adventures, so much happens that I don't miss freedom at all. I am free. As I sit there, lost deep in my own thoughts, I'm running through a meadow on a beautiful summer's day, jumping brambles and shrubs, laughing at the lazily drifting, ever-changing clouds, watching the insects hum over the brilliant and varied wildflowers. If you haven't noticed, I start trailing off when I get a very long sentence that I find boring. It's just like, at the end of the day, it's a bunch of superfluous information, and it's just like, I mean, it's not even that it's like extra or whatever, but like, there just could either have been paragraphs or been said more succinctly, like, that one sentence, at least on this size of screen, you know, covers 3 lines, and I'm just like, I don't know. I got bored. Here, a patch of golden yellow pimpernels, purple belladonna and violet, and yellow and purple flags. I mean, I know those are all flowers, that's what they're talking about, but it's just like, again, it's another thing where it's like, must they? I am so tempted to just start reading from this version. Wrong one. This version. Wow, this one has no back cover. How sad. Alright, let's get through it. Breathless and happy, I tumble to the ground, rolling through the long grass, listening to the birds singing from the hedgerows and trees freewheeling overhead. This feels very British. I don't know. I don't remember this person. If I went on my... I mean, I do and I don't. Like, I know I talked to them. I remember them as a person, but I don't remember, like, details about them. I just wonder where they're from. Now, suddenly the whole mood of the place changed. The sky turned an inky black. Lightning flickered across the sky, rending the once peaceful afternoon with a ferocity that made the clouds crash together with a tooth-jarring crash of thunder. Rain started pelting from the sky, feeling like bullets as it ricocheted off my skin, drenching me in a split second, chilling me to the bone. I didn't write this either, I guess, because that's not my style. Alright. As the sky relit with flares of electric flashes, I spied a shadow, a silhouette lurching across the now sodden grass towards where I still lay, prostrate. Yep, prostrate. Hugging the grass. Another flicker of harsh light, and in this one I saw it was my friend, my best friend. My emerald eyes, ice blonde, my emerald... What the... I don't know anymore. Okay. Another flicker of harsh light, and in this one I saw it was my friend, my best friend. My emerald-eyed, iced blonde-haired, skin pinkish with life hotter than hell best friend. But something was wrong. Something wasn't right. His skin. He was almost as pale and blue as me. He was holding his head awkwardly, as if scared to move it, and his clothes were all red. He never wore one straight color, except maybe black, and even then the shirt would have a pattern, not be just one flat tone. Something was definitely wrong. He was getting closer. For a moment, I'm afraid he's angry. But as he gets nearer to me, I can see that he's worried. I stand up and wait for him to come to me. He looks relieved that I'm all right. When he reaches me, I can see that he's dripping. The red is dripping from him in the downpour. The first thing he does is hug me. He wraps his arms around me, squeezing me tightly. I hug him back, glad that he's here. When we finally pull away, I see that I'm now covered in some of the dripping red, too. I look at my hands and torso, wondering what the substance is. Gerard smiles, a tired smile. I'm so glad that you're okay. I'm fine, I smile back, but what happened? I want to make sense of this madness. Why would I not be okay? Why is Gerard covered in red ooze? Gerard looks at me sternly. They were coming for you. His eyes dark, obviously remembering the events that preceded his arrival. They were going to take you away, so I stopped them. Okay, I also noticed about somewhere after the description of the friend is when becomes more my style and less the style of the person who wrote it. So, somewhere around there. And for myself speaking, this is why I'm able to read it aloud better. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't think people often think about like those long run-on sentences. Commas are short breaks. You breathe on periods. I mean, you might breathe on a comma, but you're not gonna it's a short break. You get a short breath. You don't get a long breath. And so when you have a string of commas without a period, it's just a little bit, you can't read it out loud in the same way. Like it tires you. Alright, none of this makes sense. Who is after me? I put my hand on Gerard's shoulder. This isn't easy because he's so significantly taller than me. Who's coming for me? I managed to ask. Men, all in white. I've never seen them before. They looked so out of place, Gerard explains. I heard them talking. I heard them say that they were looking for you. But what happened? This only explains half the story. What is Gerard not telling me? I had to keep them from getting to you, Frankie. He looks at me, a worried crease in his brow. Then he looks down at himself, and for the first time seems to realize that he's covered in a red liquid. Looking back at me, he says, "It wasn't pretty." Realization dawns on me. This is blood. Gerard is covered in the blood of some strange white-clad men, and now I am, too. I need to know more, so I ask, what were the men like? Gerard thinks and says, they were all in white clothes, talked with strange accents, and mostly to each other. Do you have something to say about my writing, Miss Uli? She's just staring at the wall, meowing. Miss Uli! Come here, baby! Uli booli! Come on! Nope, I guess she doesn't want to come. If she comes, I'll say hello, and she'll say hi. Alright. Alright. Gerard thinks and says they were in all white clothes, talked with strange accents and mostly to each other. There were 2 of them, but I heard that they were scouting for you, and that more would come later. They sounded like they would hurt you. White-clad men. Where else could they be from? My room, my hideously white room. They must be some staff looking for me. But aren't I still in that room? Why do they care so much why do they care so much what I think about? All I know is that I have too many questions and not enough answers. Why are they here? I half wail, half moan. Those are similar. Gerard takes me by the shoulders and looks me straight in the eyes. We need help. We need answers, he says, as if reading my mind. I nod vigorously. Suddenly he looks up, scanning the area. He says, we can't stay here. We walk away from the meadow, and Gerard grips my hand tightly as we walk, tightly as if he's afraid of losing me. Oh. No, okay, I got that right. I often kind of switch lines in when I read things, so I missed that. I thought I didn't, but hey, I didn't. He hasn't done this before, but right now I need him, so I don't pull my hand away. Sorry about that. There was a bug on my microphone, and I don't like that. Alright. He hasn't done this before, but right now I need him, so I don't pull my hand away. In fact, I'm glad to have his strong presence. We walk to the edge of the meadow and the line of we walk to the edge of the meadow to the line of trees surrounding it. All of a sudden, I'm not actually sure where I am. I know I've been to these parts before, but I've not usually spent much time here. But Gerard seems to know where he's going, at least this reassures me. But Gerard seems to know where he's going at least, and this reassures me. He walks with sure footing and direction through the woods, with me following by his side. I want to ask where we're heading, but I never bring myself to say it. I feel like I should already know, but I don't. Not this time. Soon enough, I find that we've reached a town that's on the edge of the woods. It's a small town, but now I know I've been here before. In fact, this is where Gerard spends most of his time, and therefore I join him. Mostly, we just hang around the tavern or the surrounding wilderness, but today Gerard leads me away from all of that. He leads me away from the other people who give us strange looks as we walk by. But Gerard doesn't seem to notice. He just moves forward. He brings me to a small house on the far end of the town, to a place I don't even recognize. How can this be? Getting lost in my own mind? Gerard leads me into the small house. It's bigger on the inside than it looks from the outside. There's enough room for a small sitting area, a kitchenette, and even a cot in the corner. Silly bugs. When inside, Gerard finally lets go of my hand, and I kind of miss the warmth of his touch. The warm touch of his hand. He gestures to a seat before sitting down himself. I sit down, waiting for him to speak. When he doesn't, I finally say, "What should we do?" "We need to find out why they're looking for you." Gerard brings his eyes up to mine. "We need to know where they came from." I feel a little bad about this part, because I think I have a pretty good idea of where they came from, but I just have no idea how it would even be possible. Gerard continues, "I'll start by asking around town, but you should stay here." "Why?" I exclaim indignantly. "I want to find out too. We could work faster with two of us." But there'll be more. I can't. Gerard looks away, as if he can't. Oh man, I don't know why I'm stumbling over that one so much. It's not even like it's a very complicated sentence. but there'll be more. That is still somehow a mouthful. But there will be more. That definitely took some concentration of thought to get that without, I don't know, stumbling. But there'll be more, and I can't. Gerard looks away, as if he can't look me in the eye. "It would be safer for you." Without further discussion, he gets up and walks to the... door. Before leaving, he turns his head, speaking over his shoulder. "Please be careful. Please just stay here. I won't be gone long." I can't bring myself to say anything in response. I just watch him leave. He closes the door, and I can still hear him walking away. He must really want to know what's happening. He didn't even bother to wash off any of the almost dry blood. I sit in the room until I can't hear him anymore. How can he just expect me to stay here? I decide to go ask around too, so I check the window in the front of the house. No sign of Gerard. I walk out of the door and head for the nearest street. The streets are alive with people, everyone buzzing around. I have absolutely no idea where to start. I try not to let this deter me and head for the nearest tavern. Maybe there I can at least start a conversation about the people looking for me. I reach the swinging doors and glimpse inside, and there they are. They're almost impossible to miss, even though I've never seen them before. They're sitting at a table with some locals, laughing and drinking beer. I back away from the door and move to a window, or at least this way I might not be noticed. I watch them sit there, the two aging white men, with receding hairlines and glasses. The thing that's weird about them is the fact that they're dressed in long white coats with 2 rows of buttons and black slacks ironed so much that the creases of them look like they could be used as knives. That's quite dramatic, but also kind of a nice visual. Kind of a nice simile, perhaps. To top it all off, they have white rubber shoes, perfectly shiny, perfectly smooth. That's a little out of order, isn't it? They have perfectly shiny and smooth white shoes, white rubber shoes. It's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. There's not even a speck of dirt on any of the white, but there should be. It's just rained and everything's muddy now. My own white tracksuit is covered in drying blood, and the pants are splashed up to the knees with mud. I don't understand why these people are even talking to these strangers. I mean, they don't look like aliens, but Gerard said they obviously don't fit. I strain to listen to their conversation. Mostly they're just laughing and telling bad jokes, but then something catches my ear. Yeah, we actually came here to this, this is one of the men, so I'm gonna do another fun voice, man. Yeah, we actually came to this area looking for an old friend of ours. Maybe you've seen him. He's pale, black hair, black eyes, one of them says. I can't differentiate which one of them spoke, but they both look the same, and from what I've heard, they both sound the same too. Miss Uli, do you have to jump and destroy everything? Apparently she must. Luckily for me, one of the locals says, well, by that description, that could be a lot of people here. Everyone laughs and takes another swig of beer. The other stranger says, this man goes by the name of Frank. I have a sharp intake of breath at the sound of my name. The danger just got very real. I turn away from the window and lean against the wall, not daring to move. I decide that I can't stay here, that Gerard might be waiting for me. I turn away from the window and am immediately face to face with Gerard. I laugh guiltily. He sighs, although I can see he's fighting a smile. He puts a hand on my shoulder and turns me around. He nudges me to start walking, and we walk away from the tavern. I start to head back to the house Gerard brought me to earlier, but he leads me a different way. I look at him. Where are we going? Ignoring my question, Gerard says, you just couldn't stay there, could you? At least you didn't get into trouble with those two. He smiles down at me before continuing. I tried asking people what they knew about those two in the tavern, and no one wanted to talk. Most people just didn't know anything, but some of them were wary of the strangers. All I could get was to go and talk to someone named Savvy. Oh, I remember her. Okay, I like her. It's quite interesting because I definitely remember there was a time, many years ago, whenever I was writing this, where I remember, like, I don't know, just going on a walk or something like that, and oh yeah, because I think originally, since this was probably posted on DeviantArt, this might actually have been written before December 2013 after all. Because I remember, yeah, like being on a walk at a place where I used to, like, go to a lot, and just thinking of this lady Savvy, and she's kind of a little bit of a spoiler. She's kind of like a little witchy lady, and at the time I had given her an accent. And in my head, because I was imagining their conversations. Miss Uli, must you keep interrupting? If you want to interrupt, I'd recommend you come join my video. Please? Don't you want to come see it? Show off your cute little face? I guess she doesn't. No cuteness for her. For me. For anyone. But yes, it's quite interesting. It's funny the things that we remember, because my goodness, this was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, and I remember creating this character, Savvy. I must have really liked her. Maybe I'll put her in another story. She's kind of gypsy-ish, but I gave her a different accent, because I don't really know what gypsies sound like. But that being said, alright. All I could get was to go and to talk to someone named Savvy. Everyone said she'd be the one to know what's happening. Is that where we're going? I ask rather unnecessarily. He just nods. We keep walking. We walk away from the town, away from the houses, away from the people. Amidst all the trees, we finally come. I don't know why I'm stumbling over that one so much. Amidst the trees, we finally come across a small house made entirely of wood. The place looks extremely old, like at any moment it could burn down. I look to Gerard and he nods, answering my unasked question, if this is the right place. Miss Uli is getting much, much louder, so I think she's trying to tell me that she wants dinner. And honestly, I should probably have dinner too. So I might wrap this one up for today and just include the link to this if you want to read the rest of it. It gets better from here. I don't know. I think so. Honestly, this was not nearly as cringy as the other one I read. So I don't know what's different or what changed in those 2 years, but I like this one a bit more. I mean, it's good for a short story. It's just a short story. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's not like, I'm not going to say it's like a good novel or something like that. It's not really what I was going for. I was just going for something fun. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what matters most. Whether or not you had fun. Because that's why we're doing this. Otherwise, what's the point of any of it? But that's a different conversation for another day. But I'm going to include this link to you guys. And like I said, I did publish this one. I don't think you can actually buy this anymore. So, limited edition copy right here. But that being said, I'm also going to take this moment to inform you about a course that I'm offering. As you might have noticed, I've been writing fanfiction for, my goodness, over a decade. Where have the years gone? But I've been writing in fanfiction for over a decade, and I've been publishing books since 2015. And oftentimes, especially those early books, were very heavily transcribed from my fanfictions, because they were like AUs of stories, so it's not like it was the original setting of the fandom. So it's my own setting, my own versions of the characters, and I change a few names and things like that, and I publish them. Now, that being said, I think my books are a lot better now than they were 8 years ago. But that being said, I love publishing books. I love writing fan fiction, and I'm offering a course on how to get the best of both worlds, of how to take your fan fiction ideas and perhaps even your fan fiction manuscript, and how to turn those into books that you can publish and earn and sell. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I think we should all be compensated for our creativity. Fan fiction can be just as creative as fan art and other types of merch items, and I think it's time we fanfic writers rise up and start, pursuing this, I don't know, perhaps in a more professional capacity, but pursuing it with a more serious attitude. That's not even the right way to put it either. I think it's time we fanfiction writers rise up, own our creativity, and stop letting people tell us that fanfiction isn't as original as fan art. Because guess what? It's all based on fandom anyways. And in case you didn't know, technically selling fan art is also illegal. So if you're going to tell me I can't sell my fanfiction, I will tell you you can't sell your fan art. The beauty about fanfiction is if you do it right, it's an original content. It's all your own original intellectual property. And my course is going to help tell you how to do it right. So you'll be able to continue making money while while vendors at conventions are going to have to take their fan art merchandise down. Because that's actually started happening. So, just so you know, fan fiction, original books, where it's at, sign up for my course called From Fan to Fiction. I will include a link in the description box as well. So thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy.